Hello, in today's video we'll be repairing a random misfire in a 2005 Chevy Cobalt. But unfortunately every time I tried to test the vehicle I could not replicate the problem. So I went ahead and scanned the vehicle and I came out with two check engine light codes, one of which is the engine misfire detected, which I expected to be there. And the other check engine light code I will take care of in a later video. So I went ahead and ran the live data stream and ran the misfire counters. And you can see in the misfire history that we had two cylinders that were misfiring. So I ended up running a few quick tests like checking the spark plugs to make sure that those were fine. And since the engine was running fine for the most part, I suspected there was nothing wrong with the internals. And I have encountered the same problem on the Saturn with the same engine beforehand. All of which lead me to believe that it's a faulty ignition module. So we can now remove the engine cover to get started on removing the ignition module. And the first thing we want to do is remove the engine oil fill cap, after which we can pop off the engine cover. And now to disconnect the ignition module. And the first thing you want to do is slide back on the slot clip. And you can now press in on this tab. And you want to pull out on the connection at the same time. I'm going to be replacing the ignition module with the ignition coil, so I'll be removing the whole assembly. And to remove the ignition coils, you want to remove these 4 bolts. And this little tab gets in the way, so you want to push it back. And now comes the whole ignition module with the ignition coil assembly. And these are the new ignition coils. These ignition coils can be purchased in a set with the ignition module and the spark plug boots attached. But unfortunately for those, I would have to order them and it would take a few days. But if you're not in a time crunch, it's definitely a better way to go. And now to swap out the spark plug boots, all you have to do is slide them out. A twisting motion makes it a little bit easier. And you will need a T15 Torx bit so you can install the new ignition module screws. And here's the new ignition module I'll be using. It includes dielectric grease to use on the connector, but I personally do not like using it. And it includes new screws and the adapter for the ignition module. And the first thing you want to do is install this rubber seal on the ignition module. And we can now install this adapter. And next we can connect the ignition module to the ignition coils. And you want to make sure that it fully seats before installing the screws. And next we can install the 3 screws. And you want to use a T15 Torx bit socket to tighten them. And we can now go ahead and reinstall the assembly back onto the vehicle. And we can now go ahead and reinstall the 4 bolts. And next you want to reinstall the connector. And next we want to remove the oil fill cap so we can install the cover. And that pretty much completes this video. Thank you for watching. Please like and consider subscribing.